Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. You guys look great yesterday.
Somebody told me you went to go and retouch me. You went to go and do washing and set.
It was lovely yesterday. You guys
you retouch your hair before you go to the award.
Shout out to this day. Shout out to Diana Ross. Yesterday was fantastic. But look, big stories in tech. It's mostly tech we're focused on. But quickly, oil prices. I didn't even get time to get into this. Donald Trump was contradicting Scott Bessent, his new Treasury Secretary, yesterday on the amount of tariffs on commodities. He's announcing tariffs everywhere. Anyway, oil slightly dropping. Brent crude 76.18. West Texas 73.18. Oil was just down slightly. Asian stocks pretty much mixed in early trading today, but mostly negative. Shanghai Composite Index down. Kospi down, Hang Seng was up, Nikkei 225 in Japan. Mostly technology stocks were hit pretty hard, and it's the AI story. Remember that I brought this up yesterday when the futures, the DeepSeek, pointing, it was, and this is the exact asset we used yesterday, and I didn't even change the strap at the bottom of the screen because the futures were pointing towards a drop, but we didn't get the scale of the drop. It was massive. If we take a look at it, so the Nasdaq dropped 3%. Biggest fall in 6 weeks, nearly 1 trillion of market cap lost between Friday and Monday. Nvidia lost 16%, 589 billion. Biggest drop in history for a single stock for Nvidia. I mean, it was huge. And why? It is because Nvidia, of course, is seen as a competitor to, rather DeepSeek is seen as a competitor to Nvidia. All this money that has been pumped into artificial intelligence on the US side, you have the Chinese coming out and showing that they can do it for cheap. Apparently, they said they spent about $6 million on that particular model. So there's been a lot of reaction. I mean, everybody's now saying that are these stocks overvalued? So there was reaction. Here's a spokesperson from NVIDIA said DeepSeek is an excellent AI advancement and a perfect example of test time scaling. This has to do with training large language models. You've got pre-training scaling, post-training scaling, and then test time scaling. It just depends on how you're training the model and then how it is able to reason for itself. DeepSeek's work illustrated how new models can be created using that technique, leveraging widely available models and compute that is fully export control compliant. Sam Altman also weighed in on this matter yesterday because his company is, of course, seen as a competitor and could be hit by this. So he said DeepSeek's R1 is that model, their LLM, is an impressive model, particularly around what they're able to deliver for the price. We will obviously deliver much better models, and also it's legit invigorating to have a new competitor. We will pull up some releases. So they're excited. Donald Trump also weighed in because, of course, Trump always comments on the markets, and he loves to comment when the markets go up. But now he's got the biggest drop for a single stock on his watch during his time. Presidents don't normally talk about this, but he was in Florida talking about tariffs, blah, blah, blah. He said DeepSeek, and I actually agree with him, is a wake-up call for the U.S. tech industry.
Today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about China and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good, because you don't have to spend this much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. So I really think if it's fact and if it's true, and nobody really knows if it is, but I view that as a positive because you'll be doing that too. So you won't be spending as much and you'll get the same result, hopefully. The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said, you have the most brilliant scientists in the world in Seattle and various places. But Silicon Valley, they said, there's nobody like those people. This is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas. We're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with, hopefully, the same solution. Under the Trump administration, we're going to unleash our tech companies and we're going to dominate the future like never before.
Now, let's not forget, just last week, or was it earlier this week, Trump announced Stargate, which was this massive $500 billion investment that OpenAI, Oracle, and so on were going to invest in data centers. I don't know what it is about the Chinese, not a conspiracy theorist, but they always seem to just hit Trump whenever he comes into office. It was COVID last time, now it's this...
This is the real trade war.
You know, exactly. You know? Well, look, to bring this, just to round off, to bring this to Nigeria, I know we have to tie this. There's something about the difference between these advanced economies and then where we are here. Of course, we're in Tanzania, Boston Omofaya is on ground talking about energy, and I think the World Bank announced $85 billion to try to get 300 million Africans electrified. There was just, I want to use fuel stations as an example, just to round off. We just came from Davos. You cannot want to be an advanced economy and still have people pumping fuel for you. It's just not a metric that is used. Think about this. You are paying people to pump fuel. You are paying for their uniforms. You are paying for the POS machines which they will use to essentially pay for your fuel. Where we came from in Davos, right? No, there are no fuel attendants. Highly skilled, highly educated economy. You simply go and pay with your credit card or cash. Just small short story. Adesu and I driving to the airport in Zurich, 3 hours away. I didn't buy fuel during the day. I forgot because we were giving Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala her award for Woman of the Year and so on. The vehicle, a 2024 Tiguan Volkswagen, was telling us exactly how much distance we could travel before the car would stop working because of the amount of fuel. We now
new cars.
So we essentially were able to get cash from an ATM, thankfully for my US dollar debit card, pay at 1 a.m. in the morning, pay for our fuel and go. And lastly, by fuel stations actually closing during the day, you're actually limiting your sales. Because if you left them open 24/7, people that party at night, people that travel at night, they can just keep going and buying fuel. So these are the things we need to look at. We need a highly educated, skilled workforce to catch up because this is China and the US and we're behind.
Rotus, don't even go there because when you go there, it will not end. Is it filling stations that need to run on diesel and generator?
So not electricity.
Is that why you say they should leave it on for 24 hours?
So Elysia is all
So they're also having... But real,
this
is the real trade war. Trump has seen it.
He's seen it.
And China has hit him. In fact, let me be counting scores today. 1-0 to China, 0 to Trump and America. You know what they did? Large language models that America will normally spend between $5 to $10 million to $1 billion to do. China is doing it with just $6 million.
See the electric vehicles you talk about all the time.
So with $6 million, what America is spending $1 billion on, with $6 million, China is doing it. So that's why you can see this even Stargate project is in the mud. And what did they undercut the American tech stocks. Nvidia lost $500 billion in a day. Please remind me of any tech company in America or any company in recent that has lost $500 billion.
Massive.
500 billion. I mean, that's the market share of companies like oil companies like Mobil and thereabouts. If I'm not mistaken. Or is Mobil a $1 trillion company?
No, it's not. It's not.
You get. So that's the market share of an entire company that was just wiped away like that. So they are seeing that innovation and cutting-edge learning is the new way for the future. Large language model and AI is the new model for the future. As regards EVs, all the successes Norway is making today was because Norway was the only country when the conversation about EV started in the 90s, 1990s, when they had the first, global climate change summit in Brazil. Norway was the only country that took it on. They started giving tariffs, tax cuts for people that were buying electronic vehicles. Today, they are fully ready to make that full transition.
Norway is an oil and gas company.
Oh, yes.
Oil and gas country.
Oh, yeah. Very quickly, I'll just come in here. I totally understand where you're coming from, Rotus, with regards to, let me start with Davos, Switzerland. But I still think it's apple and oranges. I say this because Switzerland has a population of 8.85 million. Nigeria has a population, at least unofficial, of between 150 to 200 million. The unemployment rate in Switzerland is 2.6%. Nigeria's unemployment rate is 4.3 to 5%, based on the rebasing of the technology. So I hear your argument for more tech, and I agree with you, because if we're going to play on the global space, but there's also the argument for work. So when you're talking about, so let's have...
Well, we don't have a tennis podcast in America with over...
They don't.
They don't. What I'm saying is that Nigeria is a peculiar situation. We are looking to create more jobs. I don't think we should be taking away jobs. I agree with you. Because the advent of AI or technology is that people will have to reskill. So the skills required for the future will be different. But we're not ready for that. And we keep talking about... See, people are talking about about AI, talking about DeepSeek. We are talking about giving goats to women in is it Kaduna or Kano
No, that's
State?
a good one to start with.
Yeah,
because of the
it's a good,
secularity
but that's what I'm
society.
saying. That's
Goats?
where we are.
Refined,
That's where we
yeah.
are.
Animal
And we
husbandry,
keep
yes.
saying that we're lagging
Animal
behind. I think
husbandry.
that's the challenge. We have a huge challenge to even catch up with the world tech-wise, and we need to start thinking about it seriously. We're going to play in any space in the world. I think that's something that we need to really discuss as a nation.
Okay, what is the thing about this DeepSeek, this new model, R1, that they are put into the market? It uses less computing, it is cheaper, it uses bespoke algorithm, which shows that what Meta and OpenAI are doing with a lot of money can be done cheaper. Now, the big issue here is that it's coming from China. Now, that DeepSeek is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. We have on the table the issue with TikTok.
Thank you, sir.
Now, this is going to bring up issues again. Americans have established so many export controls over their semiconductors. Now, the question is, are those export controls for semiconductors effective?
Thank you.
Answer is no. And that is precisely what the Chinese have been able to prove.
Yeah.
Now, within the American environment, when they went after TikTok, they threw in a red note. They threw in a Lemon 8, which Americans embrace. Are we now going to have Congress taking another look at the export controls to control Chinese? Or are they going to say they will take over again this new innovation by DeepSeek? Those are the geopolitical angles to this. The market side of it is that NVIDIA dropped 17% of its market cap, lost $1 trillion. The largest drop in market cap in
history,
in a single day in the history of the U.S. market. The other thing, of course, is that NVIDIA now is number 3.
Right.
The same chip maker that we celebrated all through the year 2024. So those are the dimensions to that particular study. As for electric vehicles, well, they are already using artificial intelligence in some countries in Africa, in Benin, in Rwanda. In, I think it's in Uganda, you have something called Kira, okay? But it's still a long way to go. Here in Nigeria, the best that we have seen with electric vehicles was the Senator Common Sense, Ben Bruce, recommending electric vehicles first. When he did, everybody was laughing at him. Now we're just talking about it. We tend to get very slow, but this thing also requires technology, innovation, level of development, the knowledge level of the leadership.
Yes, sir.
We have leaders who don't
leadership. Say it again. Say it again.
We have leaders who don't even know the difference between the digital age and the analog age. So this is part of it, and this is why we keep saying vision and innovation are important.
Indeed.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.